Welcome to Motor World, everyone. I'm your host, Vinay Mystery. We have a breaking story coming out tonight, just actually as we were editing the rest of our clips from the news segments we had filmed earlier. We have out of Motor One an article from Anthony Aloniz regarding a Stellantis recall over airbags. So we're actually going to get into the problem right here, right now. We're going to do a little deep dive on it, and we're going to actually go through this article and see what is happening and digest and see what it all means. So Stellantis is recalling over 284,000 vehicles, specifically between the Dodge Charger and the Chrysler 300 sedans from model years 2018 to 2021. The reason they're doing that is for side airbag problems. They are saying that in those airbags, the modules can rupture, which can lead to shrapnel being sent throughout the vehicle, and obviously that can harm the occupants within inside the vehicle. This right here, what Stellantis is doing, they are issuing a voluntary recall. So even though the NHTSA has been investigating the issue, they have not been forced to actually do the recall or order to. However, they are doing it voluntarily, as more than likely they obviously would have to be, obviously have to fulfill the recall, but they are doing it before it gets to that point where there could be any injuries. What they're saying here, like I said, so the shrapnel could be sent throughout the vehicle. They're saying the recall affects 284,982 sedans, but Stellantis does believe the issue is in less than 1% of the vehicles. However, what they're doing is, because this is a voluntary recall, they are recalling the full amount of vehicles, but within that number, they believe it's less than that. But they're doing it just to play it safe. They are urging owners to fix the problem as soon as possible, and they have made it clear that this is a new recall and is not related to the previous recall of Takata airbags, as these airbags are using a completely different design as well as a different inflator and different propellant. So this is not in relation to the previous airbag recalls that we have seen from them and other automakers regarding Takata. The automaker, they already say they're ready to go. They already say their dealers are stockpiling on the parts. Technicians will replace the modules outside of ones from the defective period. So obviously we have the dates here from July 15th, 2018, or I'm sorry, July 5th, 2018 to May 19th, 2021. Obviously that is the time of the lifespan of when those models were affected. So obviously what will happen is, what they're going to say here is that they're going to replace the current modules that are being recalled with ones built outside of that period, so it is free from the recall and free from that potential issue. Stellantis did begin issuing and investigating the issue on February 17th of 2023, so it was about a little bit over a month ago. February 2024, they did learn of 5 customers' assistance record related to the inflator. It did initiate, but the company says they are unaware of any accidents or injuries relating to the actual problem. But they did receive 5 assistance records. So they're not saying if it's necessarily complaints, but they are saying those records are related to the inflators. So because of that, they did on March 7th initiate a voluntary safety recall. But as of right now, they are unaware of anybody who has actually been injured by the problem or the potential problem to be at. The reason what they're saying, how this module can get ruptured and the cause of it, moisture introduced during the manufacturing process may cause corrosion inside of the inflators, leading to stress cracks. They may rupture during inflation. All 5 occurrences happened in vehicles that were the interior temperatures exceeded 120 degrees Fahrenheit. So clearly what happened here is this was just a bit of a quality control issue. As they said, moisture was introduced in the manufacturing process, which obviously you don't want. And because of that, corrosion led inside the inflator, causing the stress cracks, and that leads to the potential to rupture during inflation. And obviously, as they said here, they do have some records of it. All 5 of the occurrences happened at this specific temperature, when temperatures exceeded 120 degrees Fahrenheit. So what does that mean? What does this all mean? Well, it's just it's recalls happen, airbag recalls happen. Luckily in this situation, obviously nobody has been hurt. However, if you have a vehicle built within that time, your vehicle may or may not actually be affected. As Stellantis, like I said, they believe out of that number right here, they believe really it's less than 1% of this number. But to be on the safe side, which is the right thing to do, they are going to replace those modules with another airbag module that was built outside of that period, which is obviously defect free. So it's just a normal, it's just a recall that we have here, but obviously we wanted to go through it as it is, especially with airbag recalls, they are quite common nowadays, and no brand necessarily is immune to them. Every brand that I know, every car that I've ever owned has always had a recall for airbags. It's just one of those things. Obviously, it's important though to make sure that they're working. It is good that obviously, even though they did have the 5 accounts of it, nobody was seriously injured, and that obviously they were able to catch this before anything did happen. So that way, they can issue a voluntary recall, which is the right thing to do from a safety aspect and obviously from a business aspect as well. So that's what the recall is. There's nothing to really, nothing to try to extract out of this. There's nothing to try to, there's no cheap shots or anything on here. This is what it is. Obviously, just, if you have Dodge Chargers or a Chrysler 300 sedan from the model year 2018 to 2021, go on into the dealer, see if your, specific model, because they don't say if it's like, what kind of specific VINs and all that, but just contact your local dealer and they'll be able to tell you if you're, part of the recall or not. And then obviously these recalls will be, performed free of charge. So that's what this is, and there's nothing to, we don't need to take this out of proportion or anything, but we just wanted to report on this as it was, as it was an important issue, especially too for a model that has been discontinued and one that may be on its way out, as we know, unless they're going to make it an EV. But that's just what it is. So thank you everybody for watching. We will be back within the next few days, and we'll have more stories to report on. We also will have the podcast coming out where we're going to talk about a host of issues, including a bunch of the new cars that were announced recently. So stay tuned for that. We're going to get some of my opinions on that. We're just going to have a conversation about that, where we can have just a solid conversation as if we were talking one-on-one. That way we don't have to worry about being unbiased and things in the news. That way we can keep these segments organic. So thanks for watching, everyone, and we'll be back soon.